I'm going to cut the dead top out of this willow and I'll run you through my thought process. Originally I was just going to drop it down into the pond and fish it out, but I look at what's available around, and I've got this kind of tall black cherry here, and I can redirect off of that limb there, I think, and hook that top up, and it's going to be pretty light, and swing it over here and hang it on the bank. So I'll get that rigged up and show you what it looks like. But that's my thinking process so far. Well, here's the rigging I got set up so I can stay out of the water. There's my climb line, and I've got a remote retrievable rigging point going down the backside and redirected to that union there, and I have that top tied off through the ring down to a porta wrap and locked off, and I'm going to put a tag line on the butt so it doesn't slam into the cherry. And I saw there was one other limb over here, so I just threw a rope over that and then redirected it down. I just have a couple wraps, and hopefully I'll stay out of the water. There we have it. That one is suspended and not in the water, and then I'll go just let it down when I'm finished with doing that one. Everything is suspended, got a couple of cut on the way down, and then we're done though. This branch is super light, so I just took a few wraps and just locked the bite off on a rigid bark. So I don't have to break out a porta wrap or anything. I don't have a ground guy at the moment, so I set all this up myself. Plus, I put a whole lot of money on this job. I'm just kind of building the company and all that. Anyhow, there is that limb. We'll go ahead and land it. Talking a little bit of grapevine. There we go. And it is not in the water. Most of those twigs were there, but I'll fish them out. Some of them with a pole saw anyway, just to make the area look a little bit nicer before I leave. There's one, and now that rope's ready to come out. Convenient, I can reach that tag line, so I can just go ahead and untie that. I don't need it anymore. Or drift line. I put that on there because when I was looking at the angles and the pendulum, it's kind of a flat angle out to where the piece was, and I just didn't want to rocket it back and hit the trunk of that cherry and, cause additional damage or collateral damage. It was unnecessary. But yeah, that's convenient enough to untie, and I'll have that out of the way, and I can easily pull that out from the other side. And now with this one, I'll just unlock it from the porta wrap. I originally planned on just going up there and blasting that stuff in the water, but I've done a lot of river work And it seems to me that if I can avoid putting something in the water, it is almost always worth the extra time and setup, because getting stuff out of water is usually pretty difficult, I think. Anyway, I'll go ahead and lower her down. Yeah, I'm glad I didn't have to go fishing that out of the water. I originally looked at plans of trying to find something to put a tagline on there and drop it in the water and then, you know, winch it out or something like that. And then when I came back and looked at the situation and the angles and everything, that setup revealed itself, and it took a little bit of time to set up with the lines and everything, but I think it's worth it. I hate getting stuff out of water. Sometimes that's the move, just to put it in the water and be done with it. And since this is a remote and retrievable rigging point, we're going to be pulling it out via that ring. So I'll just put a big fat knot in there, and the rig line will be the initial part of the retrieval. And we'll get cleaned up and get out of here. Now, there's a mini porter wrap. I use that to lock off the remote retrievable rigging point a lot of times. Also, I don't know if you can see, but I've got a leather cambium saver where it goes across the branch just to protect the cordage from going back and forth. But I think we're done on this one, other than cleanup. So, okay. As there's a little bit of distance between the rigging point and everything, I don't know how much of this will show up on camera, but I'm going to go through it anyway, because I utilize the leather cambium savers, or you can use other tube type cambium savers to protect the cordage as it goes back and forth of loading and unloading during rigging. But even I'll use them in climbing every once in a while, and like I'm climbing pines or something, just keep my rope from getting pitched up, or if it's the time of year where bark's sloughing off and I'm doing pruning. Anyway, I'll put a slip knot in the end of the rope with a throw line on it, and that will most likely jam the cambium saver out of the union. However, if it gets stuck, having the configuration of the slip knot with the throw line gives one about 3 or 4 different options depending on how and where things get stuck, and it makes it almost bomb-proof. Because, you know, working with cambium savers and friction savers, it gets stuck. It's frustrating sometimes, but that's a way to hedge the bets in your favor. So first, I get the line untwisted, make sure I got a stop or not, and we jam that up against the bend right ring. I like it. I haven't tried a similar product on the market. I don't think it's around anymore. The Alaska, I think it's the DX20 or something like that, but it's big enough to girth hitch a 3/4 inch sling. And the nice thing about that is on this remote retrievable rigging point, having a big wide eye as I have, I can have, this is the bend right ring, I can have this girth hitched on there, or this is a big eye, I can take it out and I can put a block in there, and like if I was in a lifting scenario, something with less friction. But typically I use the ring, but if I need a block, it is an option. And as my stuff got put back in all different types of bags the other day, which, don't get me wrong, I appreciate the help, but then when I go to get stuff out, sometimes I don't know where anything is. I put it back where it came from. So I put the ring in first, and catching on the camera. And then I just feed the sling into the bag. And that's pulling the slip knot up. And so the way this is retrieved, with the ring going in the bag first and the cambium saver on the end of the line, makes for orderly deployment when I go to use it again. And I use this remote and retrievable. See, the slip knot was enough to just pop it out, so I didn't have to worry about any other options. But I'm sure I'll be filming sometime where I'll get it stuck and I'll have to exercise the utility of the slip knot and throw line combination to get it out. But this is the preferred result, and you know, no big deal. Just undo the slip knot, take the throw line off, and stuff the bag the rest of the way. Now it is ready for deployment. Like I said, I use this thing all the time. You know, as I do some contract climbing and stuff like that, and a tool like this is nice because you can set, you know, obviously you're rigging from the ground, and you know, if you have a good tie-in point and a good rigging point and everything anchored off on your ascent, you can do the rigging right when you get to the work, instead of having to go all the way to the top and set rigging and come all the way back down. It's something I use pretty regularly with success. And here's the end product of that weeping willow. I cut the dead out of it and dropped it down below where there's some green branches to kind of cover up the cuts a little bit. You'll be able to see them in the winter time, but there's a branch and there's the top back there. Have a great day.